fit to see a fair maid. Hey-ho, hey-ho. I'll make my love and the rest of the shade. Hey-ho, hey-ho. Come on, Dunk.
Hey, everyone.
Welcome back, everybody.
Sunday night, week 2. Dunk and egg. Hard salt beef. Ripping off a shred at the very end.
I can't stop laughing thinking about someone being like, you know what? Episode 2 is the one I'm going to start with. Like, you know, I didn't really like what happened in the Game of Thrones scene in episode 1, but I'm going to give it one more chance. I'm going to watch episode
I'm going to start with episode 2. Oh, God. And the first thing you see, Ser Arlan.
Just like for a long time.
How'd you feel about that?
I closed my eyes out of respect.
Listen,
honestly.
guys, I think that Ser Arlan set unreal expectations for the world. At least maybe, I don't know, maybe Westerosi standards are different.
That was too much. It's
That was
really like
crazy.
the first, 2 minutes, I feel like it's just always going to be the most out of pocket thing happening.
I thought that too. I was like, okay, here's another thing. We're doing it again.
Right in the beginning of the episode. It's like, how bad do you want it? Pretty bad. That was cracking me up. Wow.
Just like last week, we were trying to have a normal conversation. Like, hey, everybody, the episode just aired. We just watched it. It just ended 3 or 4 minutes ago. And the conversation gets grabbed by the neck and pulled like last week.
It's just so
talking
funny.
about the tree.
You
Now we're
can't
talking
help
about
it.
Ser Arlan. I saw a few tweets from folks that had seen it ahead of time, and they kind of teased. They're like, "You're gonna find out some things about Ser Arlan."
Yeah, but
this
I didn't think it
episode."
was going to be like...
I thought we were going to see something dramatic, like he was beating Dunk in a particular way, or he talked in a way that revealed, almost in a mushroom-like style, a point of
Sure.
view that
Yeah.
we didn't know about him that
Yeah.
happened to be true, that was not in a flashback in the novella or something, but
Yeah.
no. I mean, it was that. It
Yeah,
just
it was, yeah.
something different.
Jeez.
Nothing bad.
just a lot.
Just some information we didn't know about yet.
Oh, man, cracking me up. But honestly, Ser Arlan, we got a lot out of him this episode. And I was so
We did.
endeared to
A lot.
him in this episode.
Out
And
of him.
we did get a lot. Okay.
Sorry.
It's going to be... I was so endeared to him in this episode.
The first own is literally about this.
Yeah, so was our
Ser Arlan
on
and his
every
longsword.
on every platform so far. That has been the first own. But I was so endeared to him this episode because I think like last episode, for episode 1, it's like we see a lot of scenes with Ser Arlan hitting Dunk, and it's like, who was this guy? You know, he's like kind of ignoring him. He's like, okay, it's like, Dunk, why are you obsessed with this guy? You know, but the way that the flashback scenes that we saw in this episode, and just the way that Dunk was talking about him, particularly at the end of the episode, I was so endeared to Ser Arlan.
Yeah,
him singing the whole time when he's riding, even up until the point where he's clearly really sick. It's so sweet, and it's like Dunk even says, even as he was dying, he just got on with it. Like he's just a hedge knight.
the selflessness in the end.
Yes,
the quality that we like.
I was
for some reason,
so
even though you just
endeared.
wanted to get some help and not die. But it was cool to see that angle of him leading up to his death, because it was nondescript up until this point.
Yeah.
So it was like some kind of a deep wound, a really bad infection that caught.
I know. I wonder how he got that.
No, I don't know.
Maybe because like Dunk was talking about how he just, he never won a tilt at attorney, and so was he defending somebody, or was he doing, surely if it was major, Dunk would have experienced it and been able to talk about it. But
since it was on the arm, it looked like some kind of a blocking wound. If he was like blocking something, or
oh my gosh, maybe he was like defending Dunk at some point for something, or like defending some sort of innocent kid, and that's where Dunk gets this really chip on his shoulder about being a hedge knight. This
is a very pro Ser Arlan episode.
It was. I was surprised by that. I was kind of taken aback by
it was. I liked how the show gave more attention to that, because in the novella we have a lot of Dunk POV, and he's constantly thinking and grieving, and he's constantly sharing the lessons that Ser Arlan gave to him, and that's what's steering our sort of decision making until we meet people like Steely Pate and they give us more information. We meet people like Baelor. Both things happen in this episode, and you see that they're a voice that we can trust, especially compared to someone like Lionel, who was nice to see but led us into like a slightly rocky situation that ended up being fun, just like last episode.
Yep.
But the stuff with Ser Arlan is meaty, and I think it's fun that the show is giving more meaning to that, and the way that we ended with purpose of even more chip on your shoulderness that we talk about all the time when we were reading the novellas, and we spoke about leading up into the season. How are we going to fill time if we meet certain people at the top? And okay, we met Steely Pate in episode 2, but there's still all this extra meat to put on the bones, and so that's what we saw in this episode, a lot of meat on the bones. And one of those decisions was exploring more about Ser Arlan, exploring more about the grief, and exploring more about the inequality and the way that the lords don't care, and the way that they snarl during the joust, and all of that stuff was present in the novella, and it's just they've stretched it out in this episode in a really interesting way. I didn't think, when I was picturing in my brain when we were reading it on the show before, this isn't how I pictured it.
Really?
But I wasn't also being paid to picture it either. So it's like I pictured it very briefly, but it's interesting seeing people put to the task, like, how do you translate that feeling that Dunk is carrying with Ser Arlan, and really how do we show everyone watching the TV show, not just people who've read the novellas and love the novellas, how do we show them that Dunk really has more reason to do this than just to try to get ahead?
Right.
Like, where's that, like, that flea bottom nature? Like, what are you mad about, you know? And it's cool to meet someone like Baelor in this episode.
So cool.
But then, you know, you layer on the Maikar interaction and the Arion interaction, and even Dunk's nature within the joust amidst all the danger. And the show's just showing it all unraveling around Dunk, and the way that he is, like, feeling the resolve to move through it. Being channeled through Ser Arlan is just something I didn't think we'd get a lot of focus on. I thought we were kind of done with them.
Me too.
I'm glad that we're not. It's fun.
Me too. And I thought, and I also, to add to that point, just I like how different Ser Arlan was to me in episode 2. It just continues to add to the overall roundness of, and the complications of somebody who is just a person and was doing the best that they could. And you can see Dunk trying to instill the rest of that and his lessons and all those things that he learned into Sweet Egg, who Dunk tries. And Egg's like, aren't you going to help me? Are you going to give me some advice? Like, do you think I could, how do you deal with your traumas and troubles? And Dunk's like, it's none of your business. He's like, wait a second. So I think it's cool that we're seeing that juxtaposition between everything that Ser Arlan gave Dunk and how much it absolutely meant to him, and how he now is in his day 3 of being an adult is now trying to instill that into this person who he's become boys with so quickly in Egg. And again, so sweet to see their relationship continue to blossom throughout the course of this. And I love how
sorry, go on. I was gonna say, speaking of boys, no Raymond Fossaway.
No Fossaways. Bummer.
What were you going to say?
I was going to say, when Egg is like asking if Ser Arlan was a bad night, basically.
Well, I mean, at that point, that's kind of the takeaway.
He can't have been a very good one if no one remembers him. This is undignified, sir. We get this list of all of the houses that he fought for and all the stories of what Ser Arlan has done. And he's like going around, and Egg's like, this is undignified.
I just like that we're spending time with it, and it's not. I don't feel fast travel. I felt the opposite of fast travel in this episode.
See, that's what's so wild to me, because this episode was short. I need to double check on the exact runtime, but I mean,
I think it was 32 minutes.
Yeah,
30 minutes.
It did not feel like we were rushing through the story. It did not feel like, oh, it's a half hour, it's way too short. It felt like we really meandered.
Oh, yeah, no, there was definite stretches of meandering in this episode. The music really didn't kick in until moments like halfway through. Speaking to Tansel, I have a question for you. What did you think about it? I know we're talking about specific moments, but compare your feeling to last week. Like, how do you feel they executed this week? Same director as last week's episode, Owen Harris.
So
what do you think?
Good. So freaking good.
The music came back during the credits, so it pulls you back to that. I wish we would have gotten it sooner.
Me too. I was kind of waiting for
too much of a good thing, maybe. Maybe that's why they didn't do it. I mean, hard salt beef indicates, I think, really the kind of style the episode was.
Yeah.
I mean, we're really in the dirt with those two.
Man, and the two of them, Ser Arlan and Dunk, eating hard salt beef while laughing in the rain.
Yeah.
Is that not the sweetest thing you've ever seen in your life?
That was so good.
I loved this episode. I liked it more than episode 1 in
really?
My first pass through, which is exciting to me for a couple
Please
different
share.
reasons. One, we had multiple scenes that were ripped word for word, line for line from the novella. The Steely Pate interaction was 90% ripped from the book. The Baelor, Maekar situation, once they were in that room, a lot of the dialogue
so good. It was like listening to the audiobook.
Oh my gosh, ripped exactly from the novella. Incredible. So I'm so happy. And Game of Thrones put this post out over the last couple, it was like 2 days ago or today or whatever.
Yeah, like a day ago.
With a picture of, everybody's seen it. You know what post I'm talking about. But they're basically like put an overlay
It's
of
a GIF.
The text from the novella itself.
And it like follows along with the dialogue.
Yeah. And so they're really kind of trying to flex the fact that like this time we're following the books, but it works so unbelievably well. I was cracking up. The "Are you Baelor Targaryen" line? I don't know why. I've seen that scene probably like 50 times now while watching the trailer and all those things. I was
it's way funnier now
cracking up. So
where it lands in the scene.
That's my review. It was.
You liked it better than episode 1.
It was so fun, and we got the Targaryens were here, so it just felt like we got that kind of classic A Song of Ice and Fire stress amongst the royals, while we are also in the dirt with Dunk, and I absolutely loved it. I thought the pacing was really great. I thought all of the extra, for lack of a better word, fluff that's added in on top of the storyline itself continued to only
like the tug of war.
To the exactly. I was so
a lot of outdoor sipping cider, different cups, a lot of cafe vibes this episode.
Just hanging out in Ashford, you know, they're at a tourney. It's a big weekend. It's a celebration, and I was thrilled. I just so much enjoyed watching this episode, and I'm just happy that we're continuing this pace, you know, with episode 2. So
by pace, you mean like the way that they're patiently getting through like the first couple days of the tourney?
It just feels like the only phrase I can think of is meandery. You know, maybe I'll think of a better word.
I was thinking that too when I was watching this, and there was definitely moments, like I said, around the cafe vibes. I was curious if it'd be too meandery for folks. Like if I was in a room showing the show to someone, would that be a moment that I'd want to look over and be like, are you still liking this?
I don't think so, because it was also still quick, and it was only a half hour. Like time was lost while we were watching this episode for me, which is such a fun experience. There's no kind of looking at your watch trying to see what happens here. So what about you? How do you think it compares to episode 1?
I'm just such a fan of all the set pieces from episode 1 and the different ways that they use music to transition between moments and places and feelings, and because that just the artistry put into that, it's I think it's gonna probably in the ratings category edge slightly above it, just because of that sort of choreography of all those elements, you know. I think that there was a lot more acting in this.
Definitely.
A lot more dialogue, a lot more risks being taken, a lot more creative choices, you know, apart from the pretty ones that I was just talking about. A lot of individual creative choices that all add up together to make all of these elements work or not. And I was smiling so many times in this episode, just out loud whenever things were happening. Not just because it was like, oh, I remember this from the book, normal kind of thing, but just sort of victorious in seeing what the show wants to create between people like Baelor and people like Arion, people like Maekar and people like Dunk, the differences in their personalities, and the differences in their wealth and social status, but all being in the same room or standing in the same sort of stable area together. The way Lord Ashford behaves.
The way Plumber behaves. And the new Plumber in the show, I love even more. That so slight good. Like warning shake of the head, like don't do your normal shit here, dude. We're literally in front of the legendary Baelor Targaryen right now. Plus his brother's not very nice, right, etc. And they've been road wearing all day, and their kids are missing.
It's very stressful. This is a very stressful time. I was just smiling so big because it was just so many things were done in such a good way. But also, if I allow myself, might as well, because I'm talking to you about it, high freaking 5 for how many good like book moments were really accurately and in such a victorious way translated.
I know when
Baylor's good.
That's what I'm saying.
He doesn't suck.
When Baylor was telling Dunk and the way just like we said, that whole conversation, especially Baylor's lines, were all completely lifted from the novella, and so for him to be able to put that. He was able to really walk the line between somebody who's clearly super powerful and super knowledgeable, but it's also just kind of an open guy and just kind of an interested guy and somebody who isn't super dismissive just out of hand. That was done so well, and just the the tension between Baylor's kindness and Dunk's thick as a castle wall energy in that scene was just unbelievable. But can we talk about, though, before we get too much into that conversation between all of them, the way that Dunk enters into that conversation? We both kind of had a moment of
confusion.
What's going on here? We have Dunk in the stables, and he sees someone, a serving person, go through this side door, and so he kind of follows her through and like just walks down this hallway and ends up inside the main room.
And that's where Plumber was before.
Yeah, and so
I think, sorry, continue.
Yeah, so that's where Plumber was before. So it's like he kind of plays it off as if he was going to meet Plumber, but clearly he wasn't in the show. Like it just felt like they were portraying him as kind of a little more presumptuous and kind of sneaking around, because that's not the door he went in the first time, you know? Yeah, taking maybe advantage of the situation. So if we're being nitpicky, that wasn't in the books, you know? Like if we're like being nitpicky, that was a moment where it's just kind of like, okay, like what's going on here? You know, that to me, is Dunk the kind of person who's gonna just randomly walk through a door?
But fair. I hear what you're saying, but if that's what they're putting forward, I don't think it really changes much about Dunk, because I mean, all the stuff he's saying about Ser Arlan is true, and Baylor did remember him. So it's like, is it really that bad to just talk to someone, but to take them off guard when they're talking about private stuff, obviously?
Well, that's the thing about it. It's like just taking the liberty to kind of sneak around inside the castle is something that I wouldn't have necessarily pinned him to do. But at the same time, that's what he does in the novella. It just is a little bit more seamless when he ends up walking in on that conversation. And said now it kind of felt like he was pointedly trying to follow or
seize the moment,
take advantage. So
boy, did it work out, though.
It did incredibly well. And again, super nitpicky, because that scene was such a joy to watch, and it was so cool to very clearly be in a Song of Ice and Fire moment from the perspective of Dunk. And from his kind of outsider view, we're walking in the middle of this conversation that
Tyrion could be having with someone.
Exactly. If we were watching House of the Dragon, you know, we would have led up to that convo together. So
that's a really good point.
It was such a great scene. I really liked it. And I love how Dunk just goes right in. Plumber's fuming at the scenario.
He's also worried for Dunk a little bit, it seems. He's like, this is not
Dunk
a good
goes
situation.
right into it. He doesn't, there's no pleasantries. He's just like, anyway, I'm trying to enter the lists. It's like, okay, like slow down there, buddy.
My guy was like, what is happening right now? Yeah, they played off so well. They really did. What did you think about Sir Donald and Sir Rowan Craycall? When those two showed up in their white plate, I was like, man, finally.
I know.
That's some good Kingsguard apparel.
It was great.
I felt like I was like seeing two celebs.
Yeah, I know. And they're full exactly garb.
Like Doug felt.
Yeah, literally.
What the two people to walk up and talk to you. They pulled that off well. And it's like that in the book, but it's just, you know, when you're in someone's brain when you're reading, you can't quite like get that mic drop moment of being surprised like that about who they are. So that's one really cool benefit of the adaptation.
It was so good to see them walk up. I can't remember who said that, but now tell me, Sir Duncan, is there a proper place to
take shit around here? Yeah.
And Dunk's like, not really. That was so good. And then tying up the Sir Donald's
Crab story.
with Egg at the end. He's like,
his father owns half the crabbing fleets in Westeros.
Yeah, he's crabber.
LOL.
I like fishing. That's why I know about it. Dunk is so like, he's like, if he can do it, so can I. He's like so starry eyed, and Egg's like, are you serious? That was such a good tie back. It was like humbling the moment
between
in
that
a big way.
and young lady Ashford, talking about the missing Targaryens.
She said wars have been started for less.
I feel like the casual viewer has got to be thinking some stuff about Egg at this point.
Well, Egg
got to be
totally, because as soon as the Targaryen entourage shows up, Egg gasps and he's like, "I got to go back to camp."
Right,
and
there's that.
He tries to hide himself a couple of different times, and he so clearly knows so many things about people, but. I don't know. I think, again, I recall back to being a reader. And I think, again...
You were super suspicious, too, at this point.
You're suspicious at this point, but
George wasn't trying to make it super mysterious.
Right, but I think that, like... My guess is that TV show watchers have not put it together yet unless they're looking online. You know what I mean?
Right. Or maybe
how many casuals are even left in this world, though, that aren't seeing...
I mean, the numbers are pretty high for this show, so there's definitely some cash.
Because, like, surely not everybody has seen that Egg / what's his name?
Maester Aemon supercut
videos that I've been watching.
Probably not.
But so I think there's still some mystery there with him a little bit, but I don't know how much longer that's going to be able to last.
So Arlan kept on.
The last
coming.
thing I'll say about that scene with Baelor and Maekar is when Dunk kneels on the ground.
Oh God.
It was so funny. He's like, after that, Baelor is being so kind. He's like, it's okay that, you know, stories grow, whatever the line is again from the books. And Dunk kneels immediately. He's like, you're so right, your grace. I'm so sorry. Like, I'm thick as a castle wall. People always told me I was an idiot, et cetera, et cetera. There were so many funny moments that were cracking me up. And just the way he kneeled so quickly was so good. It was so funny. And then he gets empowered to head on his merry way to talk to Tansel or Tansel. I guess I've been saying it wrong this whole time.
Is it Tansel?
She said Tansel. She introduced herself as Tansel. We can still call it Tansel.
Also, Maekar had a very strange way to pronounce it too.
Yeah, it was Meekar or something. Merkar or something was the way that Lord Ashford said it. I was like, is he mispronouncing it on purpose, or did we just hear it weird?
I mean, what a question.
Also,
there's an
who cares?
Unbelievable amount of ways that we can say it, technically.
I can't wait to hear your thoughts about Steely Pate.
Oh my gosh. Whenever he was walking, first off, the tourney starting at night setting, so cool.
I thought that was awesome.
With the drums going off. It's starting.
I was scared.
Everybody rushing to the center.
Yeah.
The lineup on the dais, just a really nice addition to how to dress this whole thing out. I'm sure we'll break it down a little bit more in our midweek episode, but I just love that framing. Walking through at night, seeing the first glint of plate armor that I saw, I was like, okay, it's time. Fully squared up in front of my TV, like 6 or 7 inches away. And man, okay, so reading the book, thinking about adaptation, I think about what kind of a person Steely Pate could be based off the way that he talks.
Right. Just the few lines that we get.
And to me, he had the potential to go more cartoonish than they went. And I really like the choice that they gave. I think that it goes in line with his attention to detail and his craftsmanship. I think it sets up for a really satisfying conclusion with the way that his character turns with us.
Yeah.
And I think it just made it like a really sort of almost out-of-body scene for the episode, because there's so many different types of people that we talk to. Even someone as serious as Baelor didn't quite have this level of sort of mysticism to him. Right. He did carry that sort of air of mysticism, and he had that space locked down among all those other tents completely on his own, decorated with all that impressive gear. So him not being cartoonish was really necessary. So how do we pull it off when he's saying such cartoonish things? He literally calls himself Steely Pate.
Yeah, he does.
So how do we do it? And I think they did a good job. I wish I had the actor's name memorized, but I think that was a pretty big job.
Mhm.
And he looks just like the illustration.
He looks
I tweeted it out
exactly.
before the episode started. He looks just like Gary Gianni's illustration of Steely Pate.
Exactly. Even his like his shoulders and his beard,
Yeah.
it was spot on.
What did you think?
He was so funny too. I love when Dunk, in his earnest way, I mean to be a champion.
Oh yeah.
And he goes, "Do you now?" And the others came just to cheer you on. I felt the same way. I felt like he had every reason to potentially be like a like kind of silly, goofy character, but in a storied way. You know, like, oh, that's the armor guy. You know, look at him over there in the corner. But he was a very serious man about his craft.
Yeah,
and I thought it was really good. I like
He's
how
just kind of mysterious,
and I like how Dunk walks away. He's like, I can't do it. I can't afford it. And Steely Pate kind of calls him back. And he's like, okay, you know, he very much is softened by, for whatever reason, again, Dunk's
demeanor,
personality. And so I thought that was, I can't remember if that exactly happened in the story or not, but I thought that was really, really sweet that he cut him a deal. But it was great. Again, relying on the source material paid off really well. You know, who would have thought that Steely Pate was written so well that all you had to do was find a guy and beat him up a little like he looks in the book, with all of the soot and all of the grease of being a blacksmith.
Yeah, but you also have to, you know, direct him to present it in a certain way. Like,
No,
for example, like they didn't make the Fossaways like this. They let the Fossaways play out the way that their dialogue was. They were kind of goofy, and Stefan's seriousness was the tone was a little more heavy than, you know, that sequence in the book, I would say.
Totally.
But that's what it is. But Steely Pate, you know, still, like, depending on who's looking at him, I guess through Dunk's eyes, he would have this vibe, you know, like this energy around him where it's he's intimidating. But to someone like if someone like Ser Arlan met Steely Pate, he might look at him in a different way. So I was really cool how they depicted him.
Or even not necessarily intimidating in a negative way, but when you think about the story and how much Dunk cares about the quality of what he ends up getting from Steely Pate, and he's showing Dunk, you know, look at the way this is done, like this is true craftsmanship.
It'll have more weight whenever that happens.
Yeah, because he's a fan of the work, and he gets to meet a master in the craft. So
man, it would have been so fun to do this,
cool,
though, to make those choices, because that will help connect those two moments really well, I think.
Totally, because
we'll have a close up on the chainmail and the way that it's linked together.
Right.
And this guy will be like slightly satisfied about it. The tonsil shield painting sequence went well. Him tipping her made sense. It was just so cool seeing it all play out the way that we remember it playing out in our brains.
Even better was
beat by beat.
Was the debrief that Dunk and Egg had after.
Oh yeah,
you know, when they called her the puppet girl, and they were like kind of broing out over Dunk's situation with them. Just again, like adding color and life and palness. Like, one thing that I'm just really enjoying is how much Dunk and Egg are equals in this journey. You know, and I feel like them talking about girls is just a way to connect the two of them in a way that's satisfying as a book reader, because it's like pre-show, how are, you know, Dunk, Egg is not stealing, but taking some of Dunk's lines. Is he really going to be running the ship here? But their relationship and them coming together and connecting over just boy stuff, I think is just really nice that we're seeing them on such a level playing field, even in moments like that. Before we get to our owns, I have to call out Egg playing out being a knight, and he yells, "Do you yield, Blackfyre bastards?
Do you, Blackfyre bastards?"
We hoped that we would get more of the rebellion.
A lot of people cheered.
Yeah, kind of weaved into the story, and that was such a good and subtle way to pull that in. So absolutely loved that moment.
How about what was his name? Medgar?
Eating the fish
Tully?
head for the new gods and the old.
That is the kind of IDing I want around integrating, like, how do we make sporting with these houses?
Yeah.
You know, we have our mascot here, and I'm taking a bite of it. That's how I'm amping it up. Thanks to everyone for sending in your own so far tonight. I'm going to need to rewatch this episode 3 or 4 times before I can talk to you about it again.
I know.
I'm gonna give my own to the fella who Dunk ran into walking up to the joust at first, who called him a large cunt, a big cunt. I don't remember exactly what he said, but it took me off guard, and the delivery was perfect. And that's the first thing that I thought. I was so confident I remember exactly what he said. I didn't write it down perfectly, but that is my own. And I haven't seen that come in yet.
That's so
unique.
I'm gonna give my own to the scene where Dunk and Egg are in some bar or whatever you call them, a tent, and Egg is trying to flick a bug out of his cider, and Dunk is waxing poetic about how maybe if he could win, some house might bring him in and he could make it, and maybe even the Targaryens would bring him in. And Egg goes, the Dragon House would employ hedge knights. Dunk says, Sir Donald of Duskendale, he's the son of a crabber. And Egg is like, he owns half the crab. His father owns half the crabbing fleets in Westeros. The look on Egg's face was incredible. Dunk does not care. He just still has stars in his eyes. And this is before he sees what the joust is actually like. So he still feels very confident. But I absolutely loved that scene. So own to, I guess, Sir Donald of Duskendale and his dad.
I think Donald's going to get a few owns this week.
If you haven't already and you would like to send in your own, you can find us on Instagram, on X, on YouTube, here on this post itself. Send us your own and we will read them off in our next episode.
We'll be back sooner than last week for our second look at episode 2.
Bye, everybody.
Bye.